the show's about helping people get started. So anyone who's got like an independent kind of goal, it could be a business or a creative pursuit. Often getting started is the hardest part, and no one ever feels quite ready. So we really want to talk to people who took the journey to learn and inspire more people to give it a try. You've definitely fit the bill. So we were really excited to talk to you. Yeah, it would be great to just maybe get like a quick intro of like your background, just your name, that sort of thing.
Yeah, so excited to be here. So my background, I grew up in Atlanta. I was a dancer my entire life growing up and actually went to the University of Alabama as a dance major. So I've always had that creativity, like creative side to me. But I also grew up with two parents that are entrepreneurs. So I think it was kind of like ingrained in me from day one, seeing their lifestyle and just like knowing I never wanted someone to be the boss of me. Really is just like
Yes.
that was kind of like the ideal thing, was the motivation there. I used to always say that I wanted to own my own dance studio. But yeah, kind of like fizzled out with the dance thing, ended up quitting my major as a junior. I was always a double major in business. My mother specifically would have never let me go to college just as a dance major. She's a very logical woman. And so that was the deal, is that I had to double major going as a dance major. So, which worked out for me. I'm glad that she made me do that. So yeah, so I dropped my dance major when I was a junior and picked up a technically a third major in marketing. So I was business management and marketing. And then went into corporate America after that. So it's a bit of a segue of how I got here. But yeah.
Yeah. No, what kind of businesses did your
So
parents
my
run?
parents, and they actually just exited. They just sold their business, which was a huge deal for them. So exciting. And that was another really cool thing to see. Something that's like also
Yeah.
put another little like, idea in my mind. I'm like, okay, is this something I want to do down the road? Is that something I want to tee my business up to do? Just in seeing that and seeing the success of that. They run a commercial roofing company. So they do it
Okay.
not in the creative realm. Yeah, they do re-roofing of like large commercial buildings. Yeah.
Okay. Okay. And then they did it
Yeah,
together. Like that
yeah,
was
50-50. Really cool to see that. Like it's not something that I think you see often. And
yeah, that's not very
yeah, I
common.
mean
Yeah.
they growing it's very separate. Like my dad is like very much so like the sales guy, like industry guy, and my mom is like finance. She was in accounting and CFO versus CEO. They had opposite corner offices, and we'd always joke that it was
Yeah.
like they're like separate ends of the world. So they even each other out just as people, and it was definitely something that influenced me growing up, and seeing that too, for sure.
Did they run that business through your whole childhood, or how long was the business operating for?
Um, they started it. That's actually a good question. I think I was like four, maybe, when they started it. Um, I'm pretty sure that my dad's story is actually a little similar to mine, and that he got laid off and started his company too. We'll get to that, but that's kind of was the catalyst in me starting my own business, was getting laid off in 2020. Um, but yeah, so I was really young when they started it, maybe like four or five. So got to see it literally go from the ground up, which was really cool. I mean, my
Yeah.
dad was like taking me to like meetings and stuff like that, from the get-go. Yeah, so I really got to see it all.
Was there expectation of like this is the family business and you were getting kind of groomed to go become a manager or like run the business, or did you
Become
never
a
have that
roofer.
pressure?
Yeah.
Um, no, I never really had like that pressure per se. I think like it was always something in the back of my mind. And I did work so I went and I got a job working at a really large project management company, where I worked my way up to being the VP of business development. So I worked at an architecture firm and then a project management company. So I went into the construction area. with the thought like, okay, this could tee me up. But there was never like an insane pressure per se. I think my parents kind of always knew that I was a little more of the creative, different kid. My brother, I have a little brother who is like the very logical one, and he was groomed to take over, and he actually is running the company still, even though my parents have exited, they sold it. He is the acting CEO of the company. So he was the one that had that. Yeah, that was how that worked.
Yeah, gotcha. So you
Hmm.
touched on it briefly. You went to University of Alabama, then you went into corporate
Yes.
America. And then it sounds like you were sort of in like the construction
Hmm.
world. When you got that first job and you were working like the big corporate job, was it always in your mind that you wanted to go into entrepreneurship? Did you think you were just gonna be like a lifer in corporate America? Like, what do you remember
To
at
be
that time?
honest, I think like my first job, and I've been recently thinking about this because I just hired someone fresh out of college. And so just like kind of like thinking about that mindset, I was so not like hyper fixated on my future necessarily. I was very much so
Sure.
excited to be like making my own money, living in a new city, and partying every weekend. So I was not like while I always like I've always been very l- like ambitious, and even during that I was very ambitious. My very first job, all I thought about was I need to get out of here. Is because it was a corporate job. I was literally in a cubicle. So I was just applying for jobs nonstop. It was truly, I was there for exactly a year. I quit on my year date because I had to stay a year or else I would have to pay back my signing bonus. Um, and so on my like 1 year date, I quit, had another job lined up. And went that next job was it was in sales, it was at the architecture firm. I was just looking for freedom of
Yeah.
lifestyle. And I was like, I just cannot be in a cubicle. I can't be doing this. Like looked at people that were like older around me. I was like, what is like, is this life? Like I was so
I know
it was
exactly what you're
horrible.
talking about.
I was like, I can't, this can't be real life. Or if like I finish my work and I'd be sitting there and it's like 5 and they're like, you can't leave till 5:30. I'm like, I don't understand. Like, what do you mean I'm done? So yeah, I mean, but it's always been something in the back of my mind. I think like those first few years out of college, um, maybe like I lost that a little bit. You have like that moment where you're a little bit more of a
Yeah.
dreamer in college, and then the reality of the world and paying bills and whatnot like hits you, and there's that security of a full-time position in corporate America. So it eventually in 2020 I ended up getting laid off during COVID, which was the biggest like blessing that I could have asked for because it brought me here. So I think that a lot of things work out that way and that they're meant to be. I went into 2020. I like vividly remember I was actually in Costa Rica with a group of friends at this like on New Year's Eve. So it literally New Year's Eve, and I was talking to one of my friends who's a successful, really successful guy in advertising, has done like TED Talks, was the I think he was like the head of brand for Nike, and I was just like, I can't, like, I feel so unfulfilled creatively. I can't do this anymore. I've like hit my peak. I think I was just like chasing the achievement. And so once I got to like that VP role and was making a lot of money, I then started to quickly feel unfulfilled. And so I had that in my mind. Like I said, I remember telling him that on New Year's Eve. I was like, I've got to do something different. Like I've got to do something creative.
Yeah.
And shortly after, I guess, yeah, May of 2020 was when I eventually got laid off. My company had a few different rounds, and I got hit in, I think, the third round of layoffs, and really used it as like an opportunity to figure out how to pivot and what I want to do, and kind of like, yeah.
It sounds like you had an idea that you wanted to try something new. Did you,
Hmm.
but you maybe weren't quite ready. Do you think if that
Hmm.
layoff hadn't come that you would have still made the jump, or was that like really
Hmm.
necessary for you to have made that transition?
I'd like to think that I still would have. It may have taken longer. Um, I think I would have. I think that it may have, you never know. I think it led me into, I went into like a year of like full like self exploration, like what can I do? How can I pivot? How can I use this experience in corporate America and this marketing like background that I have and just this like my general skill sets and general like what I'm just good at innately. Um, so I don't think I would have had that motivation in like the ticking time clock of like, okay, I've got to figure it out sooner than later or I don't make money. Um, I've heard a lot of people say like if you look back on your story that you may not like it, you kind of look back at it like, oh my gosh, I don't know if I would do it again if like you knew what was coming. Like if in that moment when I decided I was gonna use this time as a pivot and knowing like how difficult it would be, I think I might have been too scared to do it. So I think that there's a lot of like the naivety and just having just kind of flowing with life in general. There's like a lot to be said to that. Yeah, because a lot of it happened really naturally for me, but that doesn't really answer your question. I would hope that I would have found my way to a more fulfilling career. But I guess, that's one of the mysteries of life. I
It
never
it
know.
does it does seem to be a common theme of people getting laid off and using that to push them to actually start a
Hmm.
business or try something different.
Yeah.
When you got laid off, were you a little bit relieved since you sound like you were already saw that, or was it very stressful, or a mix of both?
It's crazy. This was 5 years ago now, that we're like 5 years out of COVID. I I was panicked for sure. I mean, like getting laid off is not for the faint of heart. I actually was laid off twice in a 1 year period. I worked at an architecture firm before that, and they dissolved the Atlanta branch where I was living in the summer of 2019. So I was then laid off again. And so I was just like, oh my gosh, I have to like go through this again of like finding another job. But that time I took it obviously in a different route than just, I applied for jobs, but did more soul searching and trying to apply for jobs that I thought I'd actually enjoy. Um, but yeah, I mean, I was not excited to be laid off.
Yeah, it does. It does
So
seem like people sometimes it's not something they choose, but then it ends up working out for them. But yeah,
Yeah.
it's just an interesting thing, especially since it happened to you twice. But people
Mhm.
often, I think, forget that going the safe route of getting a 9 to 5 job isn't always safe.
Yeah, 100%. 100%. I mean, at the end of the day, it's like a false security. You can be laid off at any moment, you can be fired, let go, whatever, at any moment. So, in a way, the control freak in me loves being my own boss and just owning my own, destiny.
yeah. So so it sounds like the second time you got laid
Hmm.
off, you knew you wanted to, potentially pursue doing something for yourself, and you used the term
Hmm.
soul searching. So like what was that
Hmm.
process like, and then what led you to founding your business? Like were there other ones you were considering? Did you find it a little unfocused? Like I'm just curious that journey because I think a lot of people are in that where they're like, I got to do something different, but I just don't know
Yeah,
what.
so I like fully, when I say soul searching, I like really did it. I think my parents were like terrified that I would never get a job again. I ended up moving back in with them for the time being. And I even hired like a life coach. I was doing courses online. That's actually how I found the life coach. I was like doing this course for creatives. I don't even know how I ended up finding it. It was basically like masterclass, but for creatives, and it had like different experts and videos where the one was like a video of like this photographer who ironically I now work with, and there was like an influencer, and there was just a, I don't know, maybe like a digital like a graphic designer, and different types of business owners and whatnot, and it'd be like a masterclass like little session on each, and the life coach was on there as one of them, and I was like, I need to work with this girl. Like, she'll help me. And so I worked with her. Her name's Nora DeKaiser. She's absolutely wonderful. Um, she's still life coaching. She is a life coach to really successful women primarily, um, and typically works with people not in the manner that she worked with me, and where I was like, what do I do with my life? But works with people that would be more so in my position now and how to take it to the next level. But it was wonderful. That was definitely a huge part in like me figuring out like what, yeah, what I wanted to do. So I saw the opportunity in social media in 2020. Obviously, there was a lot of opportunity there. So that was something that like I always kind of went back to. I started taking courses. Um, and I was applying for jobs all along too. And then an opportunity came to work at an agency um, as a contractor. And so I started working at that agency and then started picking up other clients on my own as well.
So when you say that you
So
saw an opportunity,
Mhm.
how did you notice that? Was that just on your own, or were you actively researching it?
Mm, You know, yeah, it's a little bit of both. Yeah, I was just like constantly researching, like I was constantly like on LinkedIn, on Google. Do you guys remember that what was that app called where it was like an audio social media thing where during 2020 it had like a little moment.
Clubhouse.
oh, I do remember that.
Clubhouse.
Clubhouse. Yeah.
I was on Clubhouse like listening to all these people. I mean, I was like, it was just like a snowball thing. Like I would go from one thing to another, and it was a whole rabbit hole of finding, yeah, I couldn't even tell you how I got to some of the places that I got. Um, yeah,
Whatever happened to Clubhouse? I'm like, because it was pretty
I
popular and then
know.
just kind of disappeared.
It really did. It had like such a moment for like what, like 2 months, I feel like. It wasn't even all of, yeah, it was a very short-lived thing, but it was cool for the time being in concept, I think.
Yeah. So it sounds like you got the
Hmm.
contract work, and then that kind of was that like the confidence you needed to like run down this
Yeah,
path.
I mean, I think especially I had some of my own clients too, in that it was like I was a contractor. What was my official title with the agency? I think I was like director of talent and brand partnerships. Um, so I was working high level as as contract consultant with the agency while also managing as a social manager these like other smaller accounts. Um, and working at the agency was really pivotal in learning and just getting immersed within the industry. I mean, everything that I know, I'm self-taught. Um, there's now degrees in social media, which is so cool, but that obviously was like not a thing when I was in college. Um, but yeah, I don't think I would be where I'm at now without having worked at the agency. I learned a lot. And I think that that'd be one of my biggest pieces of advice to people is to learn from, like, do with others, especially if you can, like if it's a new skill that you're picking up, if you can work, you need to work with people instead of just like going into it just on your own.
Yeah. Yeah. So, and then just quickly, so maybe take a
Hmm.
step back so we can get a full sense. So it's Halcyon
Hmm.
House. Am I pronouncing it
Halcyon
correctly?
House, yes. Yeah.
Halcyon House. So, and I guess what exactly was it that you were trying to do? Like your social
Hmm.
media for sure, but is it for businesses? Is it for people? Um, like, I guess what is this value prop? Because you mentioned you had some
Hmm.
clients. So I guess like what was the work that you were doing and trying to do?
Yeah. So, I mean, I think a lot of my story too is just like I was just following kind of like what came to me, the opportunities that came to me. So, the clients that I had like a home staging company and then a couple other small businesses. And then the agency that I was working with was primarily celebrity talent. And that was like like I'd say like 60% of my work was that. Um, and so that's how I got in. So now that's the world that I work in now. Most of my clients are celebrity talent, actors, primarily actors and actresses. Have worked with like some athletes and some musicians, but that's how I got into that world. Was in working at the agency. Yeah.
Okay. Okay. So that
I'm not quite sure what would, could you maybe run through a scenario of like a client comes to you, how would you help them? Because I kind of feel like I know what an agency model does, but I couldn't explain it.
Yeah, so the way my job, and there's other people that do this out there, it's becoming more and more prevalent, and just it's a big need within the entertainment industry. I do people's personal social media accounts. So if you think of a celebrity, like their personal accounts. So they're having to put themselves out there, have themselves represented in a certain way. If they have projects going on, they're going on press tours, you're having to put out content for that. And so when someone approaches me, let's say you're kind of asking like what the need is, what they're asking for.
Yeah, so I can assume one, there's like it's a lot of work, and maybe they're
Hmm.
struggling to keep up with that
Hmm.
with their own busy careers and schedules. But on the
Uh-huh.
other hand, I'm assuming you're also providing potentially like strategic advice or helping them put them
Hmm.
in contact with people who can help them create content.
Yeah, so I create the content. So
Oh, okay.
I am the people. Yeah, I it's what I provide is completely full scope, and everything that you need for your social. Um, Doing content capture. I'll go to my clients' homes and we'll do even organic content shoots. Partnerships is a big part of some of these people's incomes, or not even, maybe not even a big part, but it's a large chunk of money and a piece of their income. Uh, but so typically when someone's coming to me, so most of my work comes from it's all word of mouth. I don't even, you ask me how to like pronounce Halcyon House. I kind of like cringe. Like that was a name that I kind of just like pulled out of thin air because I needed to like submit my LLC or I did it in 2021. So 4 years ago. But I don't advertise at all. It's all been word of mouth. I've got good relationships with the talent agents and publicists and just different people within the industry, and that's how I've gotten my clients, or through them recommending me to friends and whatnot. Um, but typically, a client comes to me. Uh, there's like a couple different scenarios. One, they're uh needing to leave someone that was like they were working with before, that it's just like not working out. So they've had prior like social management, someone that hasn't had social management. And a lot of the times, the reason that they'd be coming is like some sort of launch of like a brand or a big project coming up. Um, there's been, I've had a few people like reaching out. The Winter Olympics are coming up, and like so like even like things like that, like athletes like looking into like preparing for big moments. um or if it's back to like talent, if they've got like a big movie launch or something. Another client that I've reached recently had, that I've onboarded, is it was just needing to boost his social media so that he can get more work. He's I don't know how old he is. He's over 50, and it just like imagine like your dad like on social media. But I mean, and he's like, I don't know what to do with this, but like this matters, and this is what they look at to get jobs. And I think that there's definitely, obviously, talent, your like actual talent matters in landing a role. But these like heads of studios and whatnot, they do look at your following and your presence, and
Yeah.
just it's you people we can't be ignorant to that. It plays a part in it. There's certain people that are at a level where it doesn't matter if they have a social media presence or not. But that's something that they look into because that plays a role into promoting their work, like
Yeah,
whatever movie.
I have heard that it's almost like a salary cap now, where they will get funded, but they will say
Uh-huh.
they will view your social media following as like a PR mechanism, and they'll
Hmm.
say like the
Hmm.
entire group needs to hit these certain metrics of total followers. So if you
Hmm.
get someone who obviously maybe has more talent but less social media present, you have to make
Hmm.
up for it in other ways. I don't know if that's true, but something I was reading.
Yeah, I mean, I definitely I can't confirm that. I yeah, I'm sure that happens in some cases. It's really more so where I've heard it is just in visibility, in keeping your name out there. And I think it's something that's like taken with the clients that I've worked with, it's taken into like a consideration maybe as like a like side part to it. Um, and then for people that have it's more so it hurts you if you don't have it. Like if you, so
Yeah.
the client that I referenced, the older actor, him, it was hindering him more so. But I haven't heard of that, like said like that, but I'm sure it happens.
Yeah, I mean, this is a little different, but I'm a big Tom
Yeah.
Brady fan, so maybe you should reach out to him because his Instagram posts are getting a little like sad
Are
post
they?
divorce. Yeah, it's like there's a little
That's funny.
desperation in the air,
Oh
and I don't like to
no.
see it as someone who.
Yeah.
So, uh, yeah, I don't know if you do like crisis management. I think you might just need like a friend or something. So it might not fix the problem more
Yeah.
than
I
the
mean,
symptom, but.
honestly, that
Uh,
is something that like I would do. It's just like it's a really interesting job
that's
because you
good.
get so in someone's business, and it's
Yeah,
yeah, like if he I don't follow Tom Brady. I obviously know who I am. I don't think I
yeah,
follow him, but that would be a
yeah.
conversation that would be had, is like
Yeah, just tone
how
it
we're
down a bit,
positioning
man.
that.
It's
Yeah, yeah.
So
So I have these
yeah.
funny like moments and conversations where I'm like, this is what I like. I can't believe this is what I do for work.
So it sounds, like I don't know. I'm trying to piece together the timeline. So you got
Hmm.
laid off. You knew you wanted to do something different, and then all of a sudden, 5 years later, it sounds like it's a very glamorous job. Like you're working with celebrities, and like
Yeah.
I'm sure there's a lot. It's less glamorous on the
Yeah.
inside, but still, from the outside, it's like is this something you were like? I know you want to do something creative by
Hmm.
the sounds of it, but like was this an area you thought you would get into, like working with
No,
celebrities was that ever on your
no, I
mind?
never pursued it. Like I never, yeah. I think that might be something that benefited me maybe or like is maybe a reason why people can trust me too is I wouldn't call myself like fame hungry. I don't even post on my own social anymore. I don't know. I may not have even posted in the year of 2024. Um
Yeah. You also, yeah, you don't have a website,
uh-uh.
right? Like it's,
No, it's
so
all
you're,
word of mouth.
yeah. So,
I have like a landing page just so that like I can have like my email, like my domain, but I don't even. Yeah, I mean, and frankly, that's for like multiple reasons. One, there hasn't been a need. Two, I don't have the bandwidth. I'm just trying to do my
yeah.
job. But yeah, I've gotten to the point where it's like I haven't. That would maybe be something where I'm advertising down the line, but I've had to like turn down work. So I'm not in that place to where I need that. But sorry, I missed. What was the question that you?
Oh, it was basically just like, I think you
Yeah.
did answer it, that it was like you ended up in this space where like you're
Yeah.
dealing with celebrities, and social media is obviously a
Oh
very
yeah.
popular thing. So I don't know. I guess I was just it's more of an
Yeah.
observation that like you just want to be creative, and then you ended up
Do
in
do you
this.
ever
Yeah.
regret miss the cubicle when I don't know if you do like crisis management where you get like 2 a.m.
Hmm.
calls of someone's drunk tweeting and there you have to go like help them roll it back. I don't know.
Yeah, that
Yeah.
cubicle is not that bad.
Yeah, great. Like, thankfully, I work with some of the most incredible people. Like as people, the clients that I work with, I truly love. There's been like a few maybe that I've worked with where I'm like, oh, like, that wasn't like the best. None that I've worked with for my own business that would have been at the old agency. But and and I've turned down work because of that too. Like if like recently I had someone reach out where it was just like so not a fit in core values. And I can't
Yeah,
represent you on that level if we're not aligned in that if your platform is something where it's like I can't put my name behind that. Um yeah. Yeah.
Sounds like it's very like personal.
can you
Sorry,
tell?
it sounds like it's very personal where it's like you're
Yeah,
almost getting in their lives of like
Hmm.
understanding and trying to communicate their personality to the world.
Yeah, I mean, and that's one of my favorite parts of the job too, is that I get to like help empower these people to take control of their own narrative in a world that used to be it like was just what tabloids would say about you, what TMZ and all of this before social media. They had no control really other than like working with your publicist. But this is like major day-to-day control. um that's really powerful too.
yes. So can you talk about like to your friends and stuff who your clients are? Because I
Yeah.
imagine like they have to have the image that it's them doing it, but it's actually you doing it. But like, how does that work?
Yeah, I mean, yeah, my friends know who my clients are, and it's becoming like a more normal thing. It's not like a complete secret that celebrities have social media teams working for them. So yeah, it's not the biggest secret.
It's not some big
Yeah.
secret where you're like
Hmm.
pretending. So do you have like their Instagram accounts like on your phone? Like you just have like
Hmm.
full
Yeah.
like
You're
Hmm.
getting
domain?
the
Oh wow,
DMs.
so you've got like
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, I don't look.
So,
I'm under NDA and I don't look at the DMs, but yeah, I'm fully in their social media accounts and yeah, posting for them, doing it all. Hmm.
yeah. So you really can't lose your phone, hey? Like that would be a little stressful.
No, yeah, I mean, yeah, if I lost my phone, I'd be like at Apple right away. I'm constantly
Yes.
connected, so
Yeah.
I guess like circling back to the question of like if I miss the cubicle. There's time, like honestly, I haven't missed it since and I've never missed the cubicle, like specifically. But like missing corporate America or that like security. I actually did start applying for jobs back in corporate America. I was interviewing at Spotify and TikTok and was just like, I just want security. I don't
Yeah.
want to like be dealing with like the ups and downs of being a business owner. Um, and I felt like it was kind of like back to where like I think sometimes I'm a very spiritual person and I really think that life does like it gives you these like nudges. And for me, it's been like these like it like shakes it out of you. I made it to I think like the third or fourth round interview with Spotify and they actually that was when they had like a bunch of layoffs and so they dropped the role um like once I had made it to like the very end and then they put up had a hiring freeze. And I was just like like didn't know what to do.
Yeah, it probably felt
Yeah,
terrible. Yeah.
meanwhile, like during the interview process, I was having people reach out about working with them on their socials, and I was telling them no and was like, I'm not doing this anymore. I had like another agency that was wanting to partner with me to do like content capture and had like some really cool client opportunities coming my way. And so I was like, is this like, it feels like it's meant to be that I go on like my own. Um, and so I just kind of started saying yes. Um, and then that's what got me here is really just saying yes to the opportunities that came my way instead of like forcing a different outcome that felt like more
Yeah.
secure. Um,
No, that's definitely a theme
mhm,
that we have
mhm,
seen when we interview people is that there are all these jobs that they wanted to get and they almost got, and then the last second, for whatever reason, it didn't
mhm.
happen. And then they're always like, well, if that did happen, I wouldn't have done this other thing.
Yeah.
So yeah, it definitely seems like people on this journey of trying to
Mhm.
start something, there's like so many opportunities where the thing you thought you wanted would have derailed it all.
100%. I mean, I was so crushed. I wanted that job at Spotify so bad, but now I'm so happy it didn't work out.
Yeah, which does make me feel better about life, but it also stresses me out because it's like all these tiny things could
Yeah.
just
And
derail
as much as like
everything.
I tell myself that and like any moment when something like feels like it's in flux or whatnot, or like you're not getting something that you want like right in the moment, it's like as much like I wish I could just like shake myself and like know that, like have that in that moment, like that like assurance. But I mean, yeah, it all does.
It's
Yeah,
tougher at the
like when you're
time.
in
Yeah,
it, it's hard. But
yeah, because you want
yeah,
it, and
yeah,
then
for
yeah,
sure. Yeah.
So it sounds like you were a solo founder. Did
Hmm.
you ever consider bringing on a co-founder? Because I know it can be a challenging journey as it is,
Hmm.
or is it just the nature of your business works best as a solo?
Yeah, no, I've definitely thought about bringing on a partner. Yeah, and it's something that I'm still considering too. I've got someone in mind that it could potentially happen, and we're actually a little in the works of talking about it. It definitely the business would lend well to that. In the beginning days, it was just me doing everything. I just recently hired my first full-time hire this year. Last year, I hired some part-time people, but having a partner would really balance it out, and not having someone that like is as high level as me, and having the ownership that I have over it, um, to kind of just it gives you like, you could maybe I could like log off for a week, maybe, which like I have not
yeah.
done. But yeah. So it's something that's in the back of my
How
mind.
many? So when iPhone on Sundays gives you like the amount of time spent on your phone, how many
Oh my
hours a
God, I
day
don't
are we
look.
talking?
I don't I try not to look.
You just disabled the
Yeah. Yeah,
yeah,
I don't get those notifications. Oh my gosh, I forget that that's even a thing. I must have disabled
yeah,
that
yeah,
a
yeah.
while ago. Um, yeah, it's a lot,
It's
yeah.
yeah.
I'm
But at least it's like working. Yeah, like my 5 hours is just like completely
Yeah,
daily. So you're
exactly.
earning it.
Yeah, it's not like,
Yeah.
and the funny thing is like I do scroll like for my job. Like I have to source trends for my clients, and
It's
yeah,
research.
so
Yeah.
it's like
Yeah.
it's funny because like I'll go on to an app like with an intention of like, oh, I need to like find some like examples of these audios, and then like you quickly get distracted like looking at something else. Um, so yeah, it's uh yeah, my screen time is definitely too much.
So, what is your strategies for staying on top of trends? Is it just kind of
Hmm.
going through? Do you have a strategy? Do you create mood boards? Or is it more just sort of casually browsing, going down rabbit holes? How do you identify what's a trend that you want to align with and what is a trend that maybe you think is not going to last? Or like, how do you identify them?
Yeah, so I mean, everything I do is specific to my clients. So when a trend that like I guess really any trend like I think of specifically like to them, how it would pertain to them. I do just kind of like try to keep like, like tabs on what's constantly going on, just in general, like scrolling. I think that my algorithm is like pretty elite at this point, in that like I've trained it to give me like some good trends. I'm pretty like on top of it. I know like other people that I can like go to and like see like if they're posting certain things. It's like, or people that would be like creating like certain trends. But in terms of like trends for clients, there's a few ways that I go about it. I'll send them in real time as like I see them and see fit, with like prompts for them to just do in their everyday life. And then there's doing it for specific events and specific like moments. So if they're on like a press tour, having, and let's say they're going like on like a talk show or something like that, having like a trend that they could do with like another person. You'll see some of these things where they are where celebrities are doing a trend with someone else. Typically, that's not them like just thinking, "Oh, like this is fun. Like let's do this." It was like a planned thing. Um,
Wow, taking the
yeah.
magic out of like his candid
Or
celebrity
like
life while they
someone,
were just having
yeah,
fun.
someone that's like really good about that is, and
Yeah,
I don't work with her, Alex Cooper. Like she does one with her each,
yeah, the
yeah,
podcaster. Yeah,
before each
yeah.
podcast, like they'll do something. But yeah, so I'll send clients like different like audios and prompts, with like very detailed like shot list, bullet list. If I'm not with them, if I'm with them, then I'm just going for it. I do a lot of content capture before like awards shows in glam, and just knowing what my client likes, what would fit their personality, what story, like what are you telling by doing this trend, and doing this yeah, like what does this say? I think that's one of my favorite parts of the job too, is you can say a lot without saying a lot. And some of these trends and some of these like posts are frivolous, but some aren't. One of my, and I can speak to like some clients that I've worked with, one of my favorite uh a favorite like moment in my career was I worked with Dwayne Wade and Gap Union before they accepted the President's Award for their advocacy work for the LGBTQ community. And doing like I did had them, and it was the most simple TikTok where I had Gab was standing on her own and wanted Dwayne to come in and like grab her hand, and it was to a Beyonce song. It's slipping my mind right now. From Renaissance album. You'll have to give me a second. But anyways,
That's
yeah, anyways, it was just like the most powerful with the lyrics of that song, and like that, like them grabbing their hands and just like the smallest things, showing them like coming together as like this power couple that they are going into the night. And that was the song. I'm not going to sing it. The anyways, but yeah, it was basically the
yeah,
lyrics,
the
yeah, the
Beyonce song.
lyrics was talking about like going into the night.
Yeah,
But yeah, so little things like that where I had them do that audio from Tanks and the Bangas, uh DM Pretty, which is about the experience like of being a Black woman. And so do having these like finding meaning in things, and that was a trending audio at the time, finding meaning in things and like how you can twist and create a narrative that's like just saying something small. I think is really, I think it's like really cool and empowering, and yeah, create
So
some cool
you're
moments.
so you're acting like a creative director. It's like you're taking the big picture and trying to help
Hmm.
clients express that through their
Hmm.
socials.
Yeah, essentially, yeah. I do full like strategy decks, and like get really granular. You create content pillars, and there's so much work that goes into it behind the scenes, and you're kind of a lot of like strategic planning, creative planning behind it. Yeah.
you mentioned it, and I wasn't sure if we were allowed to ask or whatever, but you said you can talk to some of your clients. So who are some of the clients that you work with or have
Yeah,
worked with?
so Dwayne and Gab were, I worked with them in a content capture scope. So I was just doing content capture for them, not management. So that was really cool. They're incredible. I worked with her on her most recent album a few years back, Gag Order, which was pretty cool too, because that was kind of like her like comeback after everything that she
Yeah.
experienced. Um, One of my like long standing clients and like my absolute favorite client is Jenna Dewan. Um, and love her. We bond a lot over, she's a dancer. Uh, it from Step Up movies, if you remember those. Um, so she's someone that I work with and that like I work with really closely and honestly love dearly. You get really close with these people. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, very cool. Yeah. No, I mean this. Oh, Taylor, saying
Yeah.
something.
So it sounds like you're a little bit more into brand equity promo for like celebrities, but let's imagine I'm a creative. So I could be an artist or maybe I start a
Hmm.
business. I'm getting going, and we've talked about how important socials are today for promoting
Hmm.
yourself. What tips would you give for someone to sort of learn, like how should they pick which platforms to focus on,
Hmm.
and how should they get started and start trying to learn and get some traction, because it can be very confusing for a lot of people.
Yeah. So just for like an everyday person
Well,
and
someone
working
trying to
with,
start, so like we're thinking like it could be a small business owner
hmm.
or a creative, but someone trying
Hmm.
to promote their work and get some traction so they can either get customers or followers.
Yeah, I notice you guys don't have socials yet. So maybe for you guys,
Yes. We weren't
yeah,
ready. Yeah.
not
So
quite ready.
yeah.
But
Yes,
yeah,
exactly.
my best advice would just be just to start and put yourself out there. Uh, Consistency is huge and showing up. That's like the only way that you're gonna figure out what works and what doesn't work. It's a bit of a muscle, the algorithm too. So you have to like finesse it and show up and be consistent. In terms of like defining like a platform to prioritize. I mean, obviously TikTok and Instagram are like the two major players. I'd say show up on both. But you obviously have to like, you know, your bandwidth, what you can manage. Yeah, focus on one maybe more than the other, but I would diversify and trying to like put a little out there as much as you can on different platforms. Recycling content and repurposing it on other platforms. So I'd say like if you're, let's say you're focusing on Instagram, you're posting reels and whatnot, obviously like the strategy will be different for TikTok. And for my clients, we're doing like different, it's not just posting the same thing. But you might as well repurpose that content from Instagram Reels and put it onto TikTok anyways. It's not going to hurt you. And at least start building there.
So how do you see? So obviously you mentioned consistency, the
Hmm.
quality versus quantity sort of metric of like with shorts or for short form video content versus long form. Long form, it feels obviously you want good quality, but for short
Hmm.
form, is it better to again quantity over quality, or is it
Hmm.
quality is always critical at every stage?
So quality is critical at every stage, but I think that there's like levels to that, and I think what you might be saying might be different than what I mean when I mean quality is important at every stage or for every type of content. It doesn't need to be like professional camera quality, but it needs to be quality in that it's like good lighting and I mean, you know, like crisp. I mean, crisp like iPhone image. You don't want to be using like what, like an iPhone 6 or something. Um, but actually, it would hinder you to use like a professional camera, like video camera for just an everyday reel. You want to, there's like a finesse to it. You want some movement in the video. And that's what I do is I do content capture with them. And 90% of the time it's on my phone. If I'm doing photos, I'll use like for like some sort of event or whatnot, I'll use cameras. But any video I'm taking, it's on my phone. Unless it's like some sort of like campaign promo, like if you're doing like a short for like a music video or something like that to like work in conjunction with it, that would be like the only time to use like professional videography. In which case I am not doing that. I'm sourcing like someone else to come. And like, yeah, obviously like YouTube or something. But yeah, so iPhone is the best for that. Just making sure that the
Yeah.
lighting is good.
So when you look at like your
Hmm.
journey, which obviously seems like it sort of started about
Hmm.
5 years ago, what was the hardest part? Like, was there ever a moment where it sounds like you did some interviews and they didn't
Hmm.
work out, so you kept going down this path, but was there a moment that you can look back on and just be like, that was very tough and it almost made you want to quit? Anything that sticks out?
Um, Probably. Like taking that leap when I didn't get the job at Spotify, that like time period when I was trying to like go back to corporate America and kind of like backpedal a bit. That was for sure like the toughest moment, I think, in taking that, like having full confidence in, although I was still a contractor and was like working as a consultant for that agency that was like just like very consistent and like had a lot of security, even though it was like false security. So taking that leap and being like, I'm doing this, like I'm actually gonna like, I like just even like saying the words of like, okay, yeah, like I'm gonna do my own business, like that
Yeah.
is the scariest part when like you like tell yourself and decide and be like, this is what I'm doing, like it's happening.
Yeah, and was there anything like, I don't know, it sounds like you worked with a life coach
Hmm.
at some point. Like what helped you get through that time? Like were you telling yourself things? Were you watching, montages on YouTube? Like what was
Yeah.
like the actual thing that helped you get through that?
Um, I mean, I had like my whole little like soul searching, like cheesy moment when I was like figuring out what I wanted to do. It was definitely not as like inspirational when I was in like the thick of it, making that like final like decision to really go for it. What helped me? I mean, honestly, like leaning on like my family and friends. I can't like say enough like
Yeah.
how many like phone calls I've had with the people closest to me. Like my poor like mom has just had to like listen to me like just like speak through like every option of what I could do, and even like my like closest friends. And yeah, I think that that really is what got me through it. I can like remember
Yeah.
a moment where I was walking like the beaches of Santa Monica on a like probably like a 2-hour phone call with one of my best friends. And at the time I had an opportunity, and this was when I was still interviewing with Spotify. I had Jenna, who I work with now, and I've worked with her for over 3 years, approach me and wanting me to do her socials. And then I had an opportunity, which did not pan out, but to work with Halle Berry. Meanwhile, I'm interviewing at Spotify. And um, I was on the phone with my friend, and I was like, I just don't know what to do. Like, do it like it was like 2 hours. I can like vividly remember like walking back and forth on the beach of Santa Monica,
Yeah.
just like going through every possible like way that I could have like worked it out. And still, I like still it needed to like shake it out of me, and with Spotify like not even becoming an option. But leaning on
Yeah.
family and friends definitely is what like got me through it.
Yeah, that's a great answer. What are you most proud of from this journey?
Hmm. I mean, creating a life like and just like something that's like more fulfilling for sure, doing like my own thing. The being knowing that like I've just like created this and done this myself. And to be honest, like a lot of like the proud moments that stand out, and I don't mean this in like a frivolous way, but when you hit certain milestones financially, like as like a sole business
Yeah.
owner, from the just from like the like perspective of like holy shit, like I did that like on my own, not even like going down to like, oh, like just caring about like the money, but just like I did that by myself. That's some of my proudest moments for sure.
No, I love that. So where can people
Oh
find you
gosh,
like
nowhere.
online?
Which is so
No way.
ironic. My personal Instagram is just my name at Ali Gowin, but you won't see a post from anytime
Yes.
recently. No
I
website.
mean, if you don't want people looking you up,
Yeah.
that's totally fine too. But this is more of a
You
promo
know what?
opportunity.
Yeah.
But it sounds like you might not need it.
You can, yeah, I'd happily take the following. Maybe one day I'll start posting again. Right now it's like all of my creative juices go towards my clients, but it is something that I keep in the back of my mind. So yeah, Ali Goen is really the only place that you
Yeah,
can find me right now.
that
That's
that's totally
awesome. To
fair.
wrap it up, what advice would you give to others looking to start a journey?
To really like follow those like little winks from life and those like the nudges, like follow that. I'm someone who, like I've said, it's like had like I've had to have like it's shaken out of me to get here. And I think that there's ways that you can kind of just like intuitively follow paths that are somewhat being laid out for you, somewhat like you just flowing with life really is like my best advice. And you know what you're good at, you know what you want, you know what you're interested in, and staying true to yourself and really just following that.
No, that's great advice. Well, we thank you very much for coming on. It was fantastic
Thank
to
you
meet you,
guys.
and yeah, it was a really cool story. So we really
Awesome.
appreciate
So
it.
great meeting you guys. Thanks, y'all.